Hi everyone, I'm just going to set up and today we're painting the snowshoeing, which my husband and I started snowshoeing this year, and it's really fun. We go in these trails and it's just amazing how beautiful it is. Some days there's lots of snow in the trees, and some days, well, it has all fallen, so there's barely any. And when there's lots of snow, there's the wind, and it seems like it's snowing because all the snow is falling from the branches. It's so cool. We get to see birds, and it's just amazing to do that. So that's what inspired me to do that painting. So I'm gonna flip you over and we're gonna start. Thanks for joining me. Okay. Gonna try to do this slowly, and I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna move my canvas appropriately, and I'm gonna zoom in a tad more. So this is what we're painting today. So I'm painting on a new canvas because my husband liked what I did last week with the red roof cabin. So he wanted to keep it. So I'm painting on a new canvas, and I'm gonna plug in my mic so that you hear me better when I'm sitting at the table. Sorry if there's a little bit movement. I forgot to do this at the beginning. Here I am. Put this in an angle so that you see everything. Adjust the canvas. Hi, Patricia. Welcome. So guys, I'm sitting at my table, which means that I don't see your comments. I sometimes get up to check if I'm aligned properly or where I want it to, where I want the canvas to be, to make sure that you see me. So today I'm starting with these colors. The white, this is true blue. I have black, and I have a yellow because we're gonna make our army green for the trees. And so it's this yellow. So you can see it's a medium yellow. Don't use a light yellow because it's not going to be the same thing. You won't have the same effect as a darker yellow. We're using burnt umber, golden brown, and the yellow, the white, the black, our usual colors. So I'm going to start with the sky. So I'm going to use my 1-inch brush, no water. So I'm going to go straight into my white, and I'm going to pick up lots of blue. I might have too much white because I want the sky up here to be bluer, darker. Oh, actually, it's going to be great. And we just go in from side to side. And as I go down, I'm going to load more white because I want it to start getting lighter as I go down. You know, as you get to the horizon, I'm going to put a tad of water in my brush, just barely any, because it's dragging. So if it's dragging, it's exactly because of that. Either not enough paint or not enough water. And since we started with a dry brush, it's most likely not enough water. So I like how where this is going, that I'm going to put more white. We're going to start, as you can see here, the trees are going to start at about this level here. So I'm just going to put a little bit more white on my brush, a little bit more white. I'm going to whiten this. And your sky does not have to be perfect, right? Because there's as we come down, here I'm going very, very lightly. So that's it for my sky. You can do yours as white as you want, but as you come down, you got to remember that you're going into the horizon and the sky's getting lighter as you get to the horizon, unless you've got like an amazing blue sky, like when we went snowshoeing, my sister-in-law and me, and the sky was blue everywhere. It was just beautiful. So now I'm going to switch to, I think I'm going to try, I want to show you something before we get too far. In fan brushes, there's different sizes, as you can see. There's different. So when you have a very small tree, well, you downsize your fan brush. I use this one for the whole painting. So I'm going to show you with this one. But sometimes it's easier when you downsize your fan brushes. There's also this one here, which is a white bristle fan brush. And that one's a little bit stiffer and thicker. And that's what we used last week for the red roof cabin when we did the trees and the grass, and that's the one we used. But today, when I did the painting, I decided to try this one, because this one everybody gets when they buy a package of paints. Wherever you buy them, there's usually this brush in here. So I thought I would use that to show you how to use it. So first, we're gonna put some burnt umber on our palette. I'm gonna put it over here. And what I want to do is take some white. There's white already here, so if your canvas is still wet, you know, and you want it light. You don't want dark trees here, because we're going to put kind of darker trees on top. So I'm just going up. You'll see it's like barely there. Even though there's a huge tree here, I'm still going to put my trees, because I might see here, like my tree might come here, but then I might put it here. So I want the trees there. So I'm going to reload again. And I'm just going to go up and flick up. It's okay if some areas are darker than others. It's perfectly fine. I'm going to come down a little bit. There'll be snow at the bottom of the trees. And we're going to put pine trees on top here. So I'm reloading again. And I might go higher in some places, which will give our painting a dimension. And I'm not pressing very, very hard. You want to keep it in the light side, because I find my paint is already dried a lot. So I'm going to go faster. And I'm going to, here, move the paint. See, because I have white, and it's okay. I have darker areas. I'm going to leave those there. I'm going to reload again. Maybe a little bit white, because I find that my brush is not gliding. So I'm going to keep going right to the edge, even though there's a big tree here. We might see through the tree. So if you see through the tree, you don't want a blank spot there. And I'm going to add, see, I'm adding kind of another color. Okay. I'm going to keep going on this side. I'm going to reload a little bit of white. And I can even go tap if I want to. just to make like kind of little tops on the trees. And if my brush was just a bit too dry to get to the top, I can do that. You can do whatever. There's no rules. A tree is a tree. Who says what this looks like? You know, I kind of went in my yard, took photographs of my husband's snowshoes, and did the background here from what I saw from my backyard. And when we went snowshoeing, I took a bunch of pictures and kind of married everything together. Like, so there's no rules. It's so much fun, no rules. Okay, so now I'm going to switch. I'm going to make a little army green here. So I'm taking my black. I'll put yellow in it. A little bit more. And I'm keeping my dirty brush. And the trees are far away, so they don't really have too much color. You see the green now? Okay, so I won't be very specific here. I'm just gonna tap. I don't want to be too specific. These trees are far away, and so I'm tapping hard. I'm going fast. And some are higher than others. I'm going to reload again. And we're going to come back and do so I can make one higher there. And can you hear that? How hard I'm tapping, okay? And by tapping hard like that and moving, I'm creating like a whole bunch of trees. I might add what's behind, but do you see the trees behind? You still see them, okay? That's what's cool. It's a layer. So now I'm going to take a little bit more black into that little army green that I just did. And I won't go as high now. I just want to add a little bit of deftness at the bottom here. Just to create, I'm working kind of on the corner of my brush, if you can see that. I'm on the corner of my brush and I'm tapping. And I'm not hiding what I've just done. I'm just giving it deftness. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more here, and then we're going to go create just a little bit more black. We're going to create our other trees, like the big trees behind the pine trees. Okay. Actually, I think what we should do, now that we're here, okay, I'm going to clean the brush. We're going to need it again when we do our pine trees, but I don't want to have it sitting here in the drying, so you should never do that. So just wash it and dry it on your paper towel. Okay, so now I'm going to take back my 1-inch brush that's also in the water. I think I'm going to come and create the snow, and we're going to put the trees after. So it's okay if look, my brush is not completely clean. It's okay because the snow, we're using white, the blue, and the black. And we're making kind of a grayish blue color. I don't want it too bright either, so I'm going to tone that down. I'm going to try it on my canvas and see if it's like, you don't want this too blue because it's just going to be in your face. Oh, that's not bad actually. So here, I'm going to come and I'm going to create, I'm going to come in and I'm going to come out, create like a snowbank. And I'm adding white to it because I find it a little bit blue. And we're putting trees here too. So, You know, we just want to create that edge. So now I'm going to come down. And as I'm coming down, I'm going to pick up some white and do this. It doesn't have to be the same color everywhere, actually. It's much better if it's not. And once we've done this, we're going to go do our trail here. And actually, I'm going to put a little bit more, do another kind of grayish color again with my blue, my black, and not too dark. And I'm going to come, there's big trees here, so I'm just going to come, and my trail goes in the bush. You don't see it, goes behind the trees. So I come back, and as I come, my trail gets a little bit bigger. Okay? And in the back, the trail doesn't have much detail. As it's getting further away from you, it doesn't have as much detail because it's far away. So it's almost all white. You know, when you look in far away in the snow, everything seems the same. You don't see details in the snow. You'll see branches maybe and that, but you know, that's kind of it. So that's all I want to do is establish my trail. Okay. Now I'm going to go back in my white, put a lot more white here. And I'm going to just come and play. And I'm just, you know, putting that every which way. If your paintbrush is dry, I'm trying not to use water here because I kind of like it no water at this point. Because I find the water just, I don't know, it's, and I'm just going to tap. The water makes it flow. Maybe at one point we're going to do that, but not right now. So I'm just going to kind of tap it. And here we want shadows. We have trees here, but you still want to establish your snow. Okay? And on this side too, even though there's trees here, we want to still establish our snow. So I'm just keep going in the same puddle of paint that I had. Okay. This is going to need to dry a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of white right over here. And I'm going very small here. And I'm going this way. You're going vertical. And so I'm just tapping here and there. It's kind of this, and not too white here. Okay? So now in the back here, I want to add a little bit of highlights. Just so that we know when we put our trees that we have peekaboo areas of white. For the light, okay? And I'm gonna do it again. It's on a dirty brush, my dirty brush. And I just load. And I just come. Some of it, maybe all of it's going to be hiding, but there, in the areas that we see, there's at least going to be a little bit of white. Some stuff we're going to have to let dry because we're really not, it's just going to get muddy. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to do our trees, and we're going to come and work with the snow. So I've put my brush in the water. So now I'm going to take a number 2 round brush. I filled it up with water, then took the excess off on my napkin. Let me reload my burnt umber, because we're doing the background, like there's big background trees. Those trees in the back here, that's what we're going to come and do, okay? They're lighter because they're further away. Okay, so put a tad of water in my brush, and I'm going to come and put white, just like I did with the back trees that we barely see now. And I'm loading my brush, and I'm going to come and do a tree here. And that tree goes all the way up. Okay. The base is going to be, we won't see the base because it's behind a pine tree. So we want to do big branches. I'm running out. If it's doing what it just did to me, that's because you're running out of water. I'm going to put a tad of black. Just a tad. Just to, oh, sorry, I put a tad of black. And I'm reloading just to give it a little perspective. And I'm barely touching because I want it to make small branches. Not enough water. If it's not gliding, it's not enough water. And I'm going to put this edge here a bit darker. See, I'm picking up the white under because it's not dry. I'm going to try not to use the hair blower today. We'll see. Sometimes you can, sometimes you cannot. Okay. See, I don't really like that branch. My sky is dry. So I'm just taking my finger, wet finger, and I'm going to adjust that. It's because sometimes your brushes, I'm just going to, depending, this is a master stroke. I don't know where I bought that. They don't always work the way I want them to work. So I'm going to put my little finger here. Okay, so I think I have the right quantity of water. And you're just going to make a whole bunch of little branches. And they're crooked. A tree does not have straight branches. And remember that the pine tree in front will hide a lot of it. But what shows through is what is going to be cool. And I'm going to try to rework this branch. Remember, guys, I don't see your comments because my camera is over my table. Okay, do as many as you want. Try to make this in a point. Make tiny little branches. I'm going to darken this edge of the tree a little bit. I'm going to use a tiny bit of black here. I don't want the whole tree dark like we're going to do the ones that are in front, but I do want to give it a little impression that it has a trunk, like a dimension, even though it's far away. It's getting bigger. Okay, this can be bigger. So it doesn't have to be anything more than that. Just trying to get a little bit of that dark. Okay. Okay, see, I like that better. Okay. Okay, so now this here at the bottom doesn't matter if it's the tree, the trunk is not the same. Really doesn't matter. So, because it's going to be hiding a tree's gonna hide it. And I'm gonna make some that are, you know, maybe more in front, maybe not as tall, not as many branches. See, my trees, oh, I picked up some white, so our background is not dry. We might have to dry it at one point. And I'm just gonna go up to this one here and make more little branches. And they don't have to be perfect. They can break. Like there's areas you see, there's areas you don't see. I can put a big branch here, and it doesn't have to go anywhere. I'm gonna pick up more paint. And I want to do some trees. I just went like this. Sometimes all you're going to see is a trunk. You won't see anything else. It can be just little trees, you know, little trees. So I'm barely touching. I'm just making trunks. You don't see the branches because they're too far, they're too small. So what I'm doing, see, I'm kind of making a slurry, like a ink consistency. And I'm just creating more. And my painting is kind of letting me know what to do. I don't know if that's happened to you before too, like you're painting, you have something in your mind, you put your brush on your canvas, and the whole new, it's a different painting. It's not even what you had imagined it was going to be, because the way the brushes are that day, the way, you know, you never know. And it's okay. That's what's so fun when it's not planned. Okay, so that's my background trees, because a lot of it's going to be, you're not going to see. So I wash my brush. So now we're going to come and we're going to create our army green. So I'm taking my black, putting in my yellow. There's a lot of yellow here because we do need it. The trees in my original painting are very dark. And so we're going to work with dark and a lighter green to give our trees a dimension. And your brush has to be very loaded. So I'm going to keep it at this green. It's a very light green. It's kind of, it's like a medium yellowish green, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to load that light green and some black. So I'm going to get 2 different colors on my brush. And I want to start with this tree because it's behind that. There's 2 trees here and this one is behind. So I'm going to start with that one. Then I'll go here and I'll come here and I'll go there and there. And I'll finish with these big trees here. So we're doing that one here. And see, that one is going to hide the tree we just did. And I just want to establish, and I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And then I want to have kind of a lighter green up here. And you just tap. And I'm not tapping too hard yet. And you can leave little spots that are not, that you see the trunk like that. I kind of did it in the other one too. These trees won't be like the other tree at all. Okay, so that's my first tree. Now I'm going to move over and I'm going to do one right over here. So each time we do a tree, we reload. I'll load both sides. And I have quite a bit of paint. And I'm just going to kind of drag it in my black so that I have both on. Okay? And this one also goes off the canvas. So I'm going to come, and this kind of gives me an idea of how big my tree is. And this one comes right down. Okay. So there, I have like a big, I don't know if you see that. I have like a big bubble of paint at the corner. I'm going to take that off, especially because I want to do the top here. And I'm going on the corner and I'm kind of tapping and moving, not staying in the same place, and kind of doing kind of like a kind of skinny tree. And I'm pressing harder as I come down. You can hear it. And there's my second tree. I really like the idea that I'm using 2 greens compared to my original painting. I only used 1 green. So I really like this. So now we're going to come and do this tree. So again, we reload. Takes a lot of paint to do the needles. And again, I'm going to come in. I'm going to go establish the trunk of my tree. I want this one kind. See, I'm putting my trees in different, not at the same height, because it's going to give us an illusion of perspective. So this, I'm going to bring it a tad higher. And there's a lot of paint here. Okay, so I'm going to tap it in. I'm going to use the other side. I think my other side. Okay, I need to load some black because it's too even. I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to go up a little bit. And I'm just going to try to, this one might be a thicker tree, because I have lots of paint here. And if you find it's very light, I'm just going to load into my black. And I can go over because it's wet. And I'm just going to come and put some areas. I don't want to hide all that green. See what a difference it makes? I think I'm going to go a little bit higher just because it's thick there. There was a lot of paint there. Okay, so here actually I'm kind of going to fill that up a little bit. And trees, when you go into nature, trees are all crooked like that. You know, there's areas that there's not a lot of branches, and it's really, really cool. So now we're going to come and we're going to do this tree here. Again, we're going to reload. I'm going to load a lot of black this time, just so that I have a dimension. We'll see. We'll see if it blends too much with the other tree. So I'm going to come down. And this one is, you don't quite see it. And this one goes really far. So I need to reload. I don't see when it's doing spots that are skipping like that, because I don't have enough paint. So I'm reloading again. And a little bit of black. I want it to show the difference between these two trees. And the snow will also help us to do that. Okay, so I'm going to use this corner here because I think I have less paint in that corner. And I'm going to start coming down. And then now I'm going to switch to this corner. It has a lot of paint. And I'm coming down. And see, my trees, what it's doing. And I can go over the canvas because what it's giving us a perception that there's something else on this side on the right side of the canvas. I'm just going to come and put some black in there with the other side of my brush, because there's more black here on the other branches. I'm going to go off more canvas. So now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to jump into our big trees here, just so that I can put a perspective on top here, so that this tree doesn't get mixed in with that tree. I'm just going to put my branches a little bit bigger to fill that big spot here. True that we're going to put a tree here. There'll be branches and, okay. So let's move on to this one. This one will take a lot of paint. Okay, guys, so let's load up. We're almost done with the trees, actually. Then we're going into the snow. So what we could have done is we could have started the trees more like further, like here, coming in an angle. It would have given us a different perspective. But what I did is I made two huge trees in front. So I'm going to keep with the same idea. And both of these trees go off canvas. Okay. So, and I'm just going to put a lot of, and I'm going in my trail. That's perfectly fine. We can later reestablish our trail, and it's kind of cool that it's going over your trail. So it makes your trail look like it's in the back. It's behind the trees. So it's one huge tree, and when I put the snow, it became two huge. It became two trees. That's what happened. And here, don't be too, like, they're pretty even here. I might have to push my trail a little bit on that side because my tree is pretty big, but it's okay because, where we can. And, okay. So there's our tree. And I want to come and I'm going to do the last tree. So what I think I'm going to start it more, a little bit in. So that'll be kind of a tree that might not go off canvas. And I'm just going to tap. And when we put the snow, this is where we're going to differentiate our trees. And I'm starting to press stronger, harder. Voila. So now we're going to go and do, this will need a little bit more work. But we're going to come and we're going to go play with our snow. And actually, I think I'm going to wash my brush. Because if I don't wash it, I might end up with a colored snow that I don't like. So wash your brush. Okay. And I'm going to come and I'm going to put some white in. Again, a lot of white. We'll see how if we need to blow dry or not. And I'm going to start with the first tree that we did. And I'm just going to tap kind of in the corner and kind of come and put snow. And now it might, well, it's kind of okay that our snow is getting dirty. It's just going to give us a chance to go put a highlight on top. It's kind of a bit much here. And a tad at the top. Sometimes you might have think you went overboard with your snow, but you'll see how cool it gets as we go. I need to reload some white. Because when we put a highlight, we're just going to put highlights here and there, and it's just going to look like your tree has a lot of snow, which is cool when we see that, when we go snowshoeing. Okay, so I'm reloading the white. I think the only time, guys, that I'm going to really zoom you in is when we do the snowshoes, because I think I feel like I don't have to. So I'm going to come and I'm going to lightly press because there's a lot of white in my brush here. And I'm going to start tapping. And I'm just moving. That's the trick. Just move all the time. See, it doesn't have to be the same. Do I have enough paint? No, probably not. Because I'm working on the corner of my brush. So I end up having to reload a lot. And I'm going to try this tree here. I'm not quite sure if it's going to really work because it's pretty wet. Well, it's working not bad. And then you can switch your brush different ways. So I ended up putting a lot. So if I go over it a bit, I'm going to tone it down. It becomes kind of gray. And so it gives a dimension to my snow. And I'm going to tap. I don't like this little dots. See, my trees might end up with a lot of snow, which is okay. I don't mind. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to kind of tap a little bit just on the chisel side of it. And I'm going to come. There's lots of paint in the middle of my brush. Okay, so this one is just going to be like that for now. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to reload. You can also do this with a filbert brush. Go and tap in certain. This is a filbert brush. That's a number 10 filbert, and you can tap here and there and make little puddles of snow here and there. You can also do that. So I'm going to come here. And this is where I can differentiate the back tree from this front tree. And I'm just tapping. As I tap, I'm kind of creating more branches. And I'm turning my brush. And I can tap in the middle to kind of, create that there's branches coming forward. Okay, I'm going to come in my big tree. Remember, this is just our first coat. I'm loading. The big tree here might end up just being one tree. But on my painting, it was two because I played so much with my snow that I ended up with two trees. So, we'll see what this one does. This one might just want to be one tree. I need to reload. Reloading again. And my brush is full because we're doing a big tree here, and it's going to be easier if there's lots of paint. See, and you're not stuck. If there's something you don't like in your snow, you just re-add the color of the original of the tree. Okay, we're going to have to let this dry. That's what happened to me on this one here. I ended up coming back and added little spots here and here too. But that's okay, because, you know, that's what it is. When we do trees, you never know. So now we're going to come, actually, I kind of like it. I might just do highlights here and there and then see. So I wash my brush. Now we're going to come back, and I'm going to come back in a smaller, I'll take the 1/2 inch flat brush, and we're going to start working with our snow. And then we're going to add those other trees, but this kind of has to dry a little bit. I think I moved you a little bit. We'll see what that does. So I want to come back into our bluish, grayish color. I'm going to gray it more than blue, more gray than blue. Adding my white. Because I'm close to a puddle of blue, I seem to be picking up the blue. So I'm going to mix it well. I'm going to go work a bit on our trail. So I don't want it very, very dark, because if it's too dark, it's just going to pop in your face, and it's going to look, maybe you're going to, that's what the only thing you're going to see is that. I'm just going to take some of the paint off. I want kind of a grayish blue. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to go see if that's actually a little bit of black here. I think I'm going to like that more. Okay. Let's try that. Nope. It's too dark. And maybe re-input some of the blue. Let's see that. Okay, I like that better. Too gray. So it's kind of a, you play with it. So it's kind of a mix here. So I'm going to extend my trail. So I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm just going to extend it just a tad. Because with the trees, we kind of lost it. And it's okay if I see little spots of blue. And go to that line so you don't have it like a straight line. So this painting, every painting that I replicate, you know, I do one, then I show you, and then I do it with you guys. I do the tutorial. And every time, painting is different because, you know, I don't paint like myself twice, and neither do you. So it's, can't replicate something. That's what's, I like that idea. So now I'm going to take just some white, and I'm going to start to create some kind of, well, snow details in my trail. More white as I go. I'm just, and remember, we're going sideways, vertically. And as I'm going further in, further away, it's getting whiter. White. Okay, because the trail, as I was saying, as you go further, everything looks the same. Sometimes you don't even know there's a bank of snow because everything's white when it's far away. So that's what we want to establish here. That's what we want to recreate. It's okay if you lose some of your branches. We can always go put them back. Oh. Okay. And I'm pressing gently, you know, not too much, so that it doesn't blend too much when I'm at the other end. That's okay. See, I see little spots of white here and there. That's okay. It just gives us that there's a little drift there. So what I also want to do is do this here. I'm just going to come in, tapping, bringing that under the tree, and I'm going to put more white. I need more white here. So, and I'm just going to blend that in. It's okay if I don't blend it all in. It's just going to give our snow some perspective. So I'm taking some white again. This time I won't add. I'll just take whatever dirty is in my brush. And because we need kind of shadows under those trees. So I'm just going to come back here and do that. And when we come and put more highlight on our trees, we're going to come and reestablish that. We're going to take some white like that and just tap it in here. Remember when we did the reflections, we just tapped? Well, we can do that here too. So it's just going to give our snow a dimension. And I'm just going to, see, I'm grabbing kind of the colors of, I'm going to, here, what you can do, what I did, is I went in like that, and I just tapped snow in, and I just moved it around. You see what it does? It gives me a perspective here, and I can have like a peekaboo white area here. So I'm going into, and remember we're going to have a tree. See how this kind of gives me a dimension? It kind of flattens, brings down the ground because I did that little highlight there. I'm working on the corner of my brush. I'm going to change my brush because I don't want to damage this brush. I'm going to take an old brush to do this. I have so many old brushes that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch brush. I'm going to put that in the water. And I'm taking, like it's a 3/8 flat brush. Because that one it's been used a lot on the corner. So I'm just going to come into here. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just going to come and put some white snow here. As I do that, I'm creating a flat ground, okay? This brush is maybe not dirty enough. Oh, it's here. Okay, so I'm going to put that color in, and then I'm going to come and put the white. Because I find the white here is just too white. So I'm going to bring some color back here, and I'm going to come back and work it. Okay, and see that the color of my snow is not the same everywhere. And that's what's fun about it is that it doesn't have to be. Picking up some white, and I've dirtied my brush. I'm going to start here, and I really want to kind of create the idea that there's a lot of snow here. And I'm going to do that because I'm a little bit grayer everywhere else. So I'm just going to come and gray this down. Just going to come to the edge. Remember that the closer to us, we see more details. So the snow might not be as white right in front of us, but I will I am going to put some white because this is still wet. So it's going to tone it down. And I'm just going to, and you don't want to hide all of the darks here. And you don't want it all even either. You know, you want to see spots that are, you know, lighter and spots that are darker, and because it's a snowshoeing trail, so there's going to be kind of snowshoe tracks that, you know, you might see. So it's okay if there's spots that are darker. And I'm going to come here. See, it's a lot bluer over there. So I'm just going to come with my white. And my brush has a lot of gray in it. So it's going to kind of tone that down. See, when you do something like a trail like that, and a big tree in front like that, sometimes, as you saw, our trail was a little bit smaller, was a bit inside more than, and the big tree ended up hiding it. So you end up, you know, making your tree a little bit your trail a little bit larger. So you're just reestablishing everything, which is okay. And I'm going to kind of change the angle at the bottom here because I really don't like the way it's going. So just by doing this here, I like that better. And actually, I think I'm going to make it come out a bit more like that. Okay. I'm going to put more snow, but not pure white. Like it ends up not being pure white. I'm going in my pure white, but because this is wet, it's not staying pure white. See, I'm dipping into my white, and I'm just gonna move it around fast because I don't want it to dry. Okay, I'm gonna come and play a little bit in my snow. So taking the pure white. And I'm just moving it around. I'm kind of moving it around in a semicircle. And as I go there, and what I want to try to do is create the illusion that there's, you know, when you go into a trail and you're walking in the trail and the snow is like a lot higher than you, there's a bank. That's what I want to try to create. And yeah, the snow goes under the branches in here. And I'm just tapping. And see, by tapping, I'm taking some of the white out. And I'm going in, and there's not too much paint in my brush. I'm doing this on purpose because I don't want too much paint. I'm gonna come back and put some of the dark here. It's way too light for where it is in front. That's better. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna come and take some white, but we're not gonna come down right to the trail. We're gonna stay a little bit high, and we're gonna kind of come in an angle, and sometimes it's the edge of the bank, of the snow bank, okay? So sometimes the edge it's not even everywhere. So everything's wet, so it's not really showing that much, but you'll see. As we go, it's gonna show. And I'm coming in also in an angle here. But here, there's a difference, because remember, when it's far away, everything seems to blend. Okay, so as I'm coming over and under the tree, it can stay darker. So I keep reloading all the time. And I'm just, as I come back forward, I can see my snowbank. And here it's okay that there's spots that are darker. Do you see? We're creating a snowbank. And I'm going to come in. So I don't start right at the edge with my white, because, you know, I don't want it to go too down here. I really want it to show that there's a snowbank that is kind of drooping over. And I've got lots of white here. I'm going to take a dab off. And so when we do our snowshoes, they'll look like they're deep in the snow. So I'm going to keep going because I really want some white spots here. So I'm not going to tap too much in the same spot, because then I undo what I've just done, right? Okay. And by doing that, I'm giving my snow a layer. So as I go down here, everything looks even. Remember? Okay. I'm always going back into my white. And I can come here a little bit. Be careful not to lose what I've just done. Go into the white. I'm going into the white. And here, well, because you're in the trail, this might not show as much either. Okay, so I'm just tapping, and then we'll be able to go play with the snow in the trees also after. Here I think I'm going to add branches so that we don't see that. Okay. And more here. As I said, as it's going far away, everything looks the same. I don't want to lose that white here because I kind of like it. I just want to blend around it. Yeah, I like that. So it gives me a little shadow under the tree by bringing the white over here. I'm going to do the same over here. It's just a matter of not tapping always in the same spot. And I'm a good one for that. Like I'll tap and tap and tap, and then all of a sudden, wow, it all blended again together. And we're also going to put some little branches. You know, when you walk in the woods, there's little branches here and there. We're gonna come and do that too. I'm just gonna establish some snow here. Maybe that's what I'm gonna do here. Just establish some snow. Just lightly pressing. And here. There's shadows here, so not too much. And I want to put it like a couple of dots of white here, just so that I see some snow. And I'm going to come and put some in the trail. Tone this down a little bit. Like under the bank, just tone it down a bit, not losing it. just so that we see that it's a bank. And not too much here. So I'm going to come into my gray, because to me, I need something here. So I'm just going to come, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that bank back in, and then I'm putting shadows under the snow that we've just did, just a little bit, just so that we see that it's a snowbank. And I'm just going to put some white here, blending it, because I don't want it too white in front. Okay. Put some over here. I really like what it's turning out to be, because it really looks like it's a snowbank, and that there's white snow here and there, and I really like it. And it's different from the other painting, because I didn't do really a snowbank in the painting. I kind of didn't know how to do it. And I did another painting, and I learned how to do it. I worked it till I figured it out from my photos how to do it. So I thought, okay, now I know. Extend that a little bit. Extend, put some highlights here. Yours won't be at all like mine. Like, you might not have to go and do this. We don't paint trees the same way, so you're not gonna see what I see. Okay, I'm leaving the snow as is for now. We're gonna take our fan brush again. Actually, no, we're not gonna take our fan brush. We're gonna take, I have a small filbert here in number 4. Actually, it's a filbert. It could be a little flat. That's how we're going to come and put the snow in, okay? So I'm going to take it pure white, and I'm just going to make sure I don't have any snow on my fingers, white on my finger, and I'm just going to come and tap certain areas, and I'm going to come and put white snow. See, I'm putting some on the front branches. And I'm reloading again. And at the same time, I can go off here, you know, add here. See, a filbert will do these little hairs, needles, if you want. So I'm just tapping. You can do this with a flat. I did it with a flat, and I'm working on the corner. So as long as you work on the corner, you can use your fan brush if you want. I don't kind of like that. Here it's like I'm highlighting the tree trunk. I'm going to change that a little bit here so I don't see that. I don't like have things to... Okay. Okay, so my trees are going to have lots of snow. If ever I find it's too much, I'm going to show you. We're going to go add some of the original color after. So I'm going to come, and I'm just going to... Here there wasn't like really the way the branches were made wasn't really a lot of snow in this one here. And it doesn't have to either. Like, there's branches that don't have snow when you walk in the bush, depending of if it was a snowy day, or, you know, if there was a storm, then it seems like Oh my God, it's so full. It's so beautiful. So I'm going to try here. Okay, that's all I'm going to do there. I'm going to reload some white. Now I went here, so I should have done these trees first, so my hand wouldn't be in the snow. So I'm just tapping it some areas. And it's okay. My brush has little hairs, if you can see it. It's full of... This is great when you have your old brushes to work with. And I'm just going to come, and I'm going to do this a little bit faster so I don't, you know, stay in the same spot. And okay, so I'm going to come. And this you can play as much, put as much snow as you want in your tree and as less snow as you want. Just showing different ways that you can do this. Some people might like a lot of snow in their trees, and some people might like less snow. All you have to do is just put less snow, maybe less branches. Say I'm just a matter of tapping here and there and you know, making them as full as you want. Because when you walk in the bush, sometimes there's a big blob, you know, on one spot of the branch, and there's barely any snow anywhere else. It's just there. So you can do that. And so I can just come and tap. Yeah, I like that. I really like that. So now I'm going to come and do this tree here. And I'm going to tap. See, today we're not drying as much. Sometimes I like that, do a painting without drying. But you never know. Just happens that today I can. I'm just tapping. That's a big spot here to try to, because I had already put a lot of snow there. I can make my branches bigger. Now I put snow behind here, so I can rearrange that here. Can rearrange these branches. As your tree gets bigger, we need to change brush because it's going to get too small. It's getting, here my brush is getting small because I find it's getting like kind of too much detail. Okay, I'm going to switch. I am going to take a flat brush. So I'll show you with a flat brush. We're going to come into the big tree. So I'm going to load in the white. And I'm going to start at the top. I like starting at the top. It kind of gives me an idea. I'm kind of moving my brush every which way so that I create a dimension in my tree. I might not like it at all, but hey, if I don't try it, you don't know. And if I don't like it, I'm going to go back and reestablish some of my green, which we will actually do so that I can show you how to do that. I'm just going to come in like that. And this tree like is right in our face. So that one here can have a lot of snow. And I'm going to, you know, go over the branches here. It's going off canvas. Reload again. I'm just going to do these first. I'm reestablishing my branches. And it can go over my trail again. And I'm just going to tap. Sometimes it made a little blob here. I'm going to leave it like that. And as I come, I might make some branches that are coming down here. See, my tree's still wet, so I can play with it. And okay. Did I go overboard? Now, let's see. Let's see. Actually, I want to put a little much snow here. And over here. And let's see. Wow. What is that? There's so much snow in there. I'm going to go back into my blue. My white, my black. More blue. It's starting to dry here. And oh, actually, that's not the color I need. I need the color of the tree. Sorry. So I'm going to go into my black. That's what I was going for first, and I don't know, my brain played a trick on me. And actually, what I want to do, I want to use this brush here. And I'm loading. And I'm going to go, I have a piece of dry, okay. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to go add some areas. See, when it does these little dots there, you're not loaded enough. And I can come back and play with it. There's nothing that stops you from reestablishing some of your branches. See, I'm running out of paint. I'm going to reload again. I ended up doing that with my first painting because I thought, oh my goodness, I've got way too much. And I can bring some of the branches down and tone this down. I'm going to come into my white right away. And I might end up with 2 trees here. And I'm coming back in. And I'm coming down. And a little bit here also. And as I'm coming down, I'm kind of changing the way my brush is. See? So I'm kind of telling it that there's another tree here. Okay, I'm going to go back in my pure white and I'm going to come down and I'm going to tap here. And okay. As you might not see that, but I feel like there's kind of 2 trees here. But it's very, very easy to fix. And it's very, very easy to go overboard. Just gonna establish the back here. That there's a tree here in the back. Guys, I might just be going overboard today. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for now. So what I want to do is I want to come and create our trees here in front. So I'm going to take a zero liner, and I'm going to come into my my burnt umber, my black. I want these like a darker brown, darker than the back trees, okay? And so what I did is I did this all after, I did the trees here Friday waiting to come live online. I decided, oh, there's spots there. I could add trees. Okay, I need more water. I'm going to put it in ink consistency because it's going to flow better. When it doesn't flow, it's because we don't have enough paint, enough water. Got to be careful because it might just be too much ink consistency. Oh, I don't want to move too much so that you guys can see this. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to need to reload into my paint. And trying to make little branches, and they're going over the trees. And do as many branches as you want. That's when it gives you, your painting gets a dimension. Is when you do that and you bring things backwards, like behind. Gives us a perspective. I can bring it over that tree. And it's in front. And we're going to come and we're going to put snow at the bottom. So my bottom is not beautiful. Doesn't matter. We're going to come and we're going to hide that. We're going to put snow. I'm going to come and put a tree here. Going to try to make the trunk a nice trunk. I need water into my puddle of burnt umber and brown, black. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. More water. More water. And I'm loading, loading, loading. I'm going to bring this tree right up. Trying not to have my hand. Reloading. As I see, because it's getting kind of lighter. And I'm coming up. I want it to go over the trees that are there. So that I bring the trees in the back, I push them to the back by bringing this tree over, and this tree is darker, so it's pushing the other trees back. And I'm just doing branches, and you make sure that you're darker than what is in the back. Okay, so I just keep reloading in that puddle of dark paint. And I'm creating branches. And I'm going over my trees. So it gives dimension to my painting. And just creating little branches. Make sure you see your little branches, because that's what's going to give dimension to your tree. And I keep making branches, crooked branches, lots of little branches. When that goes up, I need to reload. It's getting dry. And branches are going every which way, right? These trees have Lots of branches. What kind of tree it is? I don't know. It's a tree. Okay, I'm going to make another branch there. Not at the same place as the other one. Not going the same way. I want to hide. I want to bring that tree in the back there. I want to push it behind. There's another tree here that we're going to do. And more little branches. And I'm not going to make it go over this branch here because that tree is in front of all of this. So these branches will not go over that big tree. Remember that? So you don't do that. It's going to look weird if you do that. Okay. And it can come over. There's more. I want to add maybe a little more. Oops, too much paint for where I'm at. Put, you know, a little branch here so that the tree doesn't look naked. It can have branches that are broken. Because it happens during the winter. I'm going to bring the tree the trunk a little bit bigger at the bottom so it matches the tree. And I'm going to come back here and I find that this needs to be a little darker so that it pushes that pine tree in the back. And do reloading. And I kind of made a big branch here, so just gonna make my tree trunk a bit bigger. See, it's so easy that you can change anything. And I'm going skinnier. Okay, oh, I like that. So I'm gonna make this branch a tad a little bit bigger and give it a little crooked curve here so that it looks like it's coming, you know, that they belong together. Now there's a tree here. I'm going to come and make that tree. Again, that tree here is behind that big pine tree. Okay, so I'm just going to make a skinnier one. Okay. And that one won't be, there's branches that is going to go under that tree here, that branch. And it's behind, we're putting it behind this tree here. Okay, it goes here and then we see little branches. And I need water. So I'm still working in the same puddle of water, of paint that I had created with the burnt umber. Okay. So now my trees, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here in some spots and just come and put with the brown and the black here, just going to come and play here and add kind of like shadows here under some of the snow, just to come and give it a perspective so that it gets it gives it a dimension. Right now it just seems like it's a whole bunch of snow. There's no perspective, or Everything's just a mess of paint. And I'm doing it with the burnt umber. I'm gonna go a little bit in my green and my black, but I'm doing it with the same color as I just did the trees. And see, without really, I'm going fast, and I'm just reestablishing. As soon as I get too much white in it, then I reload. So I'm just giving it a perspective. Differentiate between my branches where I find that there's a branch. And that's going to give me, I'm turning my brush, it's going to give me the perspective I was looking for. Sometimes you have to leave your painting and go back and then figure out what it is that you need to do. It's not always like, oh, yeah, I know what I need to. Sometimes it is you got to put it aside and look at it the next day or in a few hours and figure out, oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of leave it so I don't go overboard with my green. Yeah, so do you see now I have two trees? Well, I see it. I hope you see it too. So I want to come back here and do some whites here. So I'm going to take the white. I have some dirty white here. I'm going to not put too much on, just so that I don't, put a color. And I'm taking my brush here, my little liner brush. I'm going to put a tad of blue in there. I have some dirty white here. And these trees, they're snow. The winds has blown and there was a snowstorm and the trees have snow. Maybe not as much on the top because I find there's wind here. And so I'm just putting a little bit. And it's on the, I'll start here, take most of the, and it's on, I'm kind of, see, it's just like the tip of my brush. And a tad up here, just a tad. And a little bit on the branches. Not every branch has snow, I've noticed that. In my mind there was, but there isn't. As you get to the higher branches, there's barely any snow there. I'm going to come and do the back tree, just a little bit, this tree here. I want to try to, I barely have any snow. I'm just going to come and do the bottom. I don't want to be, okay, here, this one's a little bit further away. So we're not going to, okay. So I'm kind of spreading that weight. And by putting it some behind the tree like that, it gives it a perspective. And some spots here, some areas here. By working with different brushes, you're going to get different designs in your snow. In here, I'm just gonna reload again. Oops, this time I picked up some blue. I don't want that. And I'm gonna come here and kind of go over my trail. I'm going in the white. I'm going to load a bit more of the white and fill out some spots here. See, we can put a lot of coats here as you feel. And the snow, I find, has dimension when we put white here, white there, and so it's kind of cool. So now we're going to take some, I didn't tell you guys, but I think I picked up, I did a little bit of burnt sienna. And I want to do little branches here. So we're going to come into our water. We're going to keep that puddle here that we had of dirt, of the brown. And more water. Because these branches, I don't want to go with a lot of thick branches. I just want them to be peeking out of the snow. And they're all over. They're crooked. They're coming this way. They're over here. See, I'm running out of water. And I'm going to put some over here. And I'm just going just anywhere I want. And I'm putting these little branches. And what I want to do, I also want to go into our greenish here. And I've noticed that in the bush, I'll take a bit of water from the trail. Sometimes there's a branch that pops out. So it's like a pine tree branch that pops out. It's really cool that you see. That's when you know how many. Oh, see here, I have too much water. And I can do another one here. You can do a little kind of tree here, but you only see the tip. The rest is in the snow. And the dirtier this looks, the more realistic it looks. So I'm just going everywhere and adding, and I'm just going to create kind of a shadow here. Maybe it's too much of a shadow. Take a bit of water on my, okay. I'm gonna do the snowshoes. So snowshoes is golden brown. I'm not gonna touch back that green, that big great tree. I'm leaving it just as is, because you know what? I like it that way. I've made 2 trees. So now our snowshoes. Look at how it's like an egg shape. Okay, there's one that way, and then the other one goes the other way because they've been planted in the snow. These are not the snowshoes that we snowshoe with. We snowshoe with the new modern snowshoes, but this is a pair of snowshoes my husband has. And I went in my garden and I've put them every here and there in my garden, take photos so that I would know how to do the painting. So that's what that is. So we're going to come and we're going to kind of make a little ink inconsistency. Ink consistency, not inconsistency. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to put my snowshoes here. So I'm going to come and make my egg shape. And it's okay if they're not perfect. They're not, it's totally perfect. Again, I need more water. And I'm just rolling my paint, my brush in my paint so I can load it. So then my snowshoe, I'm gonna come down. I'm coming down, I'm shrinking, okay? I'm shrinking, I'm going in a V. Okay, there's the first snowshoe. Then the other one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the top first. Again, might not be the same, but it's okay. It's kind of in an angle, that one. And I'm going to do the round point. And then I'm going to come down. I need more paint. And this one here is going to come about here. And that one turns. And actually, okay. So now what I want to do is I want to take some burnt umber, keeping my brush dirty. I'm going to go into that dark puddle. I'm going to put a little shadow, kind of a little shadow on that side here. Just so that it gives us, not everywhere, gives us an idea, okay, just on that side. Give us a kind of a dimension going down here. Okay. Now, we want to do the crisscross here. First, I still need to go back into my golden brown, and I need to go do this here and down here. Like, really, there's no measurements here. You just do whatever. And now this one here, that's where the bindings, the straps are gonna be attached. And also we're creating, so there's little lines here. That's where, you know, your boot is. Do you see that? I'm gonna zoom you in, guys. Whoa. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in, move you over so that you can see it. And I'm gonna zoom in again. Keep you in the center. Okay, I think that's the most that I can zoom. Okay. So now you see I've done where, this is where it's skin that they attached, they do the snowshoe with. Okay, so there's these. This is wood, and now this is the skin. It's like doing a dream catcher, the way they do the snowshoe. And two more here. And this is the wood. So where there's wood, I'm going to put a little shadow under. It's going to kind of blend in. But it's just going to give me a little dimension. Okay. So now, I don't want the burnt umber when I start doing the crisscross. So I'm keeping the same color. And all you're gonna do is like a tic-tac-toe. Here, that's all you're gonna do. It does not have to be specific, exactly. You know what that is. I know what that is. Same thing at the bottom here. As you can see, sometimes I touch, sometimes I don't touch the edges. And I'm going to take some white after, and we're going to kind of do a highlight here. And same thing at the bottom. Same thing here. Now I'm going to take a bit of the white, a bit of water, and I'm just going to come and touch some of them, just to give it a little dimension, a little extra. A little bit more water. And look at the color I created with my white. It's just like a lighter tan. And again over here. And it's okay if we kind of hide the back snowshoe side, because really it doesn't show. And here too. See, you might lose your tic-tac-toe there, your grid, but it's okay. You know, it's not supposed to be close anyway. So what I also want to do is do a little highlight on the snowshoe. Just the top there. Just over here. A little bit over there. On here. Not very much, just to give it a little bit of perspective. So now I'm going to wash my brush. We're going to come and do the leather straps. These are leather straps here. And like, it's very, very simple how we're to do that. So I'm going into my burnt umber, blackish, a little bit of water. I'm going to try to not have to, you know, use more paint than I have there, digging for the paint. So now, binder's attached here. It's attached there. And it has like a leather strap. And another leather strap here. And then the strap, I need water to make it flow. And then the strap just goes down. That's it. So I'll do the other one. So I'm coming here and it attached there and here, and this time the leather strap is on this side. That's it. Your snowshoes are done. Now I'm gonna zoom you out a little bit. And we're gonna go do the shadow under. That's what makes it look realistic, is that shadow. So we're gonna take the white, a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the black, the blue, and I'm just gonna make a darker gray. Maybe a little bit the blue. Oh, I want it to, let's see, more white. I'm trying to blend it, that I do see the shadow. And I'm just going to come, and I'm just tapping. What this does, it makes your snowshoe stand up instead of lying down. And I'm just, what does that look like? Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm just gonna maybe make it a bit darker so that you can see well, because I'm not sure if you can see it. Okay, I'm just, yeah, I think it needed to be darker. and it's going under the tree. We don't really see it. I'm gonna make my strap again longer. I kind of lost my strap here, and it's going over. Sometimes my brush there, either I don't want to have too much paint in it, like too much water, or there's just way too much. Okay, I need some more of, I'm gonna have to reload just a tad of the brown. Just a tad of my dark brown. And I'm just gonna come in with my strap here and just make my strap a little bit longer here. And this one too. It's just hanging. How does that look? Okay. So now, what you guys can do is add as much snow as you want in your trees, or as less snow as you want. It's up to what your eyes see. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit more so that you can see it fully. I'm going to move over so that I am centered, because I moved over. This is, okay, I don't know what I did there. It's just going crazy on me. Okay. It's, sorry about all that flashing, guys. When I zoom out, sometimes I touch my button I switched the camera. Okay, so I have areas that are very dark, but I know if I start playing too much with it, what's going to happen is that I'm gonna kind of lose my snow. So I'm just gonna tap some of my dark back in. See, since you don't paint like me, you might just be okay. But see how it can be easy to just re-add a little bit of your shadows? Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah. And see, so I think I'm going to call it done for the day. Because we've done everything. We've done our snowshoes. We've done the trees. You can have little branches everywhere, some in the trail. Actually, what I would like to do is maybe go into the trail and add a tiny bit more white. Clean that brush very well. I want to take my old filbert here and just add maybe a little bit more, kind of make the trail a little bit more snowy. But as I come to the front here, there's less, okay? Remember that. You see more details when it's in front. And yeah. So when you're satisfied with your painting, just stop. Like I say, if you do, if you paint, stop before you go overboard. When you're tired there, just stop, because sometimes creating a painting, because you might add things that I didn't put in. So as you create your own painting, Sam, wherever I put a branch, put a little bit of snow. So I kind of, and I'm going to put some more snow here. I could go on for hours and hours. When I create these paintings, sometimes I paint, it takes me 2 to 3 days to create this. Sometimes it just clicks, it's right away, and other times it's like sometimes I don't even know if I'm going to make it or not, you know. Sometimes there's paintings that you're never going to see. It took me way too long to create, to paint, do a live with it. Because sometimes I put too much detail. You know, that artist side of me that puts 1,000 details comes back, pops up, and wants to do 1,000 details. So I'm calling it quits, guys. So I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget, sign it, do your edges, and enjoy the process. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for coming. Bye.